Yes, today we are going to see ABC costing, what we call activity-based costing. Today we are living in a world of wholesome competition. If we do not calculate our costs accurately, so we run the risk of closing down our business. So it is very important to know the cost of a product. The cost of a product, that is, cost of production, is in the hands of the business, whereas the selling price is already fixed on the market. So, cost is in our control, therefore we need to calculate the cost per unit of the product accurately in order to determine a selling price which has already been fixed on the market. So the cost is in our control, but the market price is in the control of the buyers. Traditional costing, in traditional accounting costing, we calculate the cost per unit by using a blanket rate, like machine hours, labor hours, number of employees, and so on. These bases do not reflect the accurate cost per unit of a product. So in this case, when we add a margin of profit to the cost of the product in order to determine the selling price, so we cannot compete on the market because of higher selling price. But in modern accounting, many businesses make use of activity-based costing. This costing system calculates the cost of a product, that is the cost per unit, by using activities. So, the cost per unit is calculated by using the level of activities which exist in an organization. This will give an accurate cost per unit, and therefore when we add the margin of profit, we can compete on the market by reflecting the selling price that already exists on the market. So in order to understand the concept of activity-based costing, we are going to see an example. Suppose there are 3 friends. After their high school certificate examination, they decided to go for dinner. So, 3 friends, A, B, C. 3 friends, they ordered soup and dinner and dessert. A ordered a potato soup costing $60. B ordered a tomato soup costing $50. And C ordered a veggie soup costing $30. And they ordered dinner costing $100, for B $50, and for C $150. Dessert, A ordered an ice cream costing $80. B has throat infection. He does not order any dessert ice cream. And C ordered ice cream costing $80. So, after the examination, they decided to go to a restaurant, and these are the soup, dinner, dessert that they ordered at the restaurant. So now, the waiter will bring the bill, so they have to pay. for soup 140, and 300 for dinner, and 164. So in all they have to pay how much? They have to pay $600. Okay. They ordered soup, dinner, this side, and this is the bill that they have to pay. So normally, since they are 3 friends, they will divide by 3, and each one will pay how much? $200. They will not say anything in front of the waiter. They will just give $200 each, and they will pay the bill. But internally, B is thinking he has to pay only $100 because he has taken soup and dinner costing 50 rupees, $50 each. And A has to pay $240. And C has to pay $260. Okay, now? What happened? The cost per unit has been calculated by using a blanket rate. This is called a blanket rate, number of person. Else, it could have been calculated individually for each. For A has taken soup $60, dinner $100, and $80 for this side. He has to pay $240, but he paid only $200. B did not take any this side. He has to pay only $100. How much he paid? $200. C has to pay $260, but how he paid only $200. So this is the cost. The cost has been wrongly calculated because it has been based on the blanket rate, that is a number of friends. So if we have to calculate cost per unit, we need to calculate cost per unit accurately. How this cost per unit could have been calculated accurately if it was based on the number of activities. Soup $60, dinner $100, this side $80. For each one, it was calculated based on the number of activities. There will be no issue. So in this case, he has to pay $240. How much he paid? $200. There is under costing of product. He has to pay $100, but he paid $200. This one is over costing of product. And $260, he paid only $200 under costing. So in order to avoid under costing, over costing of product, so we have to calculate the costs per unit based on the number of activities. On the number of activities, soup, dinner, this side. It should have been calculated on individual product for each person. Then we get an accurate cost. So in this case, what will happen? Next time will be go out for dinner with A and C. No, there will be problem. There will be an issue. But if there is issue between friends, it does not matter. But if there is problem in business because of calculating costs, because of calculation of cost per unit based on the blanket rate, this will cause problems in business. So we have to calculate the cost per unit based on the number of activities. So in other words, we are referring to activity-based costing. Most businesses in the modern economy, they are using what we call activity-based costing. They are calculating the cost of the product based on the number of activities, because this will give rise to accurate cost per unit. Then if we get an accurate cost per unit, then we can add a margin of profit which will reflect the market price. Else, the business will have to close down. Many businesses in the past, in traditional accounting, they use a blanket rate to calculate costs per unit. At that time, it was okay. But today, we are living in a world of wholesome competition, so we cannot calculate cost per unit based on blanket rates, machine hours, labor hours, and so on. We have to calculate cost per unit based on the number of activities. So, hope you have understood properly what we mean when we say activity-based costing. That is, the cost of the project will be calculated based on the number of activities. So, in other words, activity-based costing contributes to calculate an accurate cost per unit. If we can calculate an accurate cost per unit, then we can calculate an accurate selling price. That is, a selling price which is reflected on the market. We will take a second example.